Hi guys, can you hear me? Can you just stick one in the chat if you can hear me? Anybody hear me? Is the mic working? Yes, excellent, brilliant. Well, welcome to the new home of the live room on YouTube now. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. Is the mic sounding okay? Not sure about levels. It's very hard testing this, you know. It's a lot more difficult than Zoom to test whether stuff's working, but hopefully you can hear me okay. Good. Brilliant. Excellent. Hi, Peter. I also can't see who's in the room now. Unlike Zoom, when we're doing the live rooms in Zoom, I can see who's there. I can't see who's here now, so you just have to say hello in the chat so I know you're here, if you're here. We'll get used to it, don't worry. It's a new home. It's like anything. When you move into a new house, you have to change things around and stuff. We'll get there. Been changing my MT4 around all morning because this has been ever so slightly set up completely differently to how I had it before. But anyway, here we go. Right. So it's Monday. The Cot Report. We'll start with that. Assuming I can get that up. Hang on a sec. There we go. Hopefully you can see that now. So, news this week and Cot Report. We'll start off with that. How's everybody's weekend, by the way? All good? Did all my Christmas wrapping this weekend. Cut my finger. My legs are killing me, because I've been kneeling down on the floor, wrapping constantly. But it's done, so that's all out of the way now, which is good. Right, so, calendar. This week, obviously it's the week before Christmas. This week tends to be very, very light liquidity. So it's very, very difficult to trade this week because you either get very, very whipsaw reaction, lots of slippage, or it's quite flat. It's very, very difficult to tell. It changes every year, but just be a little bit careful, obviously, with your positions this week, because we are going to see some light liquidity, and that means that you can get some pretty big moves as they slip. So we'll see. But this week, news-wise, as you can see, let me just change my filter. Don't want all this rubbish on that. As you can see today, there is nothing. We've got no news today whatsoever. Tomorrow, we've got the monetary policy meeting minutes for the Australian dollar. We've got CAD retail sales as well. Wednesday, we've got GDP for the US and home sales. Nothing particularly exciting there. Thursday, we've got Kuroda speaking, and we've got GDP for the CAD and PCE for US dollar. And then obviously it's Christmas Eve. So not a great deal of news this week. As you'd expect, it's a quiet week. I'm not going to be trading this week. I will be doing live room, but I'm not going to be doing a lot of trading this week. I've only got one position on Aussie New Zealand as a short, so I'm not entering anything else until New Year now. But obviously, if you're in positions at the moment, obviously you'll need to keep on top of those ones. Just add to them as necessary. So that's the news this week. As I say, nothing today, and not an awful lot this week. We've got 2 red news, but I wouldn't expect an awful lot more than sort of whipsaws up to ADR and back, really, this week. So, commitment to traders. This week, we haven't had a massive amount of movement. Just realised I haven't got my pen. 1 second. So not a massive amount of movement on the Cot Report this week. The main thing is the pound. The pound obviously flipped short 4 weeks ago. It's coming back to fairly neutral at the moment, but it is still ever so slightly weak. We know that. We've seen that on the charts anyway. Big change this week, New Zealand dollar. That's the one this week, which is the big shaker. So remember I was saying with the Cot Report, obviously we've been massively long on this thing for such a long time. And when you look at the Cot Report like an oscillator, this thing has been in effect extended for such a long period of time. So it looks like we will start to see a movement coming to the downside, New Zealand dollar wise. So it hasn't been particularly strong at all, but it is still a long. So I still think we're going to get some positive moves on the New Zealand dollar, but there's a massive scale out on that. People going flat basically. You can see everything's kind of, there's quite a bit that's scaled out basically ahead of Christmas. So, you know, there's not a lot you can really read into the Cot Report this week anyway, because there's not going to be a massive amount of, you know, decent trading going on. But we are still long US dollar, we are still long New Zealand, and everything else is a short. So just treat it as it is, but, you know, take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt this week, as I say, because it's more of a scalper's paradise this week. You're probably going to find there's a fair bit of whip soaring up and down, which is good for scalping. Also dangerous if they do decide to put any moves in, which you get the wrong side of. So, okay, so that is the Cot Report and the news covered. So going back to look at the charts. So this is said, the only thing that I'm in at the moment is the Aussie Dollar, New Zealand dollar, which is still stuck. We're still stuck sideways on this thing. Bear with me if any of my charts look a bit odd today, because it's all a bit of a rush getting everything into the new platform. Because I'm basically running this off my laptop now instead of my main trading PC, just so I can stream off this because it's got a better graphics card in it. But yeah, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar is the only thing that I'm in at the moment. I've just got 4 positions short on this at the moment. We haven't gone anywhere at all. We pushed basically up. We got in up here when we were extended. It's just basically been grinding away, but as you can see, we're sideways now and have been since we got up here on the 15th of December. So just sitting up at the highs really, expecting a drop on this one, looking to target this sort of level. So we should be able to get back down to here. But yeah, that's what target on it basically. So just looking for a drop at some point soon. ADRs today. So that's the only position I've got. And obviously I'm just managing this. If I can get out of this one. You see where my TPs are, so that basically just gets me out of the profit on the position, which is what I'm looking to do this week. ADRs today, there's been a few hits already this morning. Everything's in the wrong order over here. This is going to be interesting. Right, Euro odd. I normally have this in alphabetical order, obviously, but new MT4, it's not. So I might have trouble finding stuff today. Bear with me. Euro odd. We've hit ADR. My ADR indicator has also vanished. There we go. So yeah, we hit ADR straight up into 100% during the Asian session, and we've basically put in a new high, and we are hovering around 100% ADR on that one at the moment. Euro is obviously a big short, so looking for shorts on this one, obviously. So looks like a pretty good opportunity to get in short at the moment. We've got highs here which we haven't quite got up to from last week. It would be really nice if they'd hit that before they put that nice big wick in, but they didn't quite get there. So if you look at this one from a sort of a range basis, since we had this push down, this is really the low there, and that's kind of the high of the range there. So we've sort of tapped up into this area a few times. This is kind of range low at the moment, sort of around here. Poked our head above a couple of times and below, but this is really where we're sitting at the moment, in this area here. So we're right up at the highs at present. Euro is expected to continue short. Aussie dollar, difficult to tell at the moment, but it is still a short. So yeah, plays down to the bottom of the range on it. So it's a nice ADR high on this one. So looks good for short opportunities if you're not already in it. Euro Cad. I'm going to have to put these in the right order in a minute. So Euro Cad basically straight up into 100 ADR, put in a nice doji and pull back. We are coming up to retest at the moment, so putting in a potential nice M formation there for a nice drop back down. Euro obviously is a short. The Canadian dollar is also a short, so there's no real directional bias on this one. Just realised I haven't got the alert. Okay. So I've got indicators missing and all sorts of stuff. I'll sort this out for tomorrow. So wait for an alert on this on M5. It's not going to be, because unless we make a new high here, if we make a new high here, you're going to get the alert here. So if we push up to there, obviously this will become the new support rectangle, and we'll get an alert there, which will be double top off of 100% ADR, which would be nice. But at the moment, obviously, it's going to be a while before you get an alert to go short on that one. But very, very nicely extended up in the highs. Euro pound. That's in a different spot. There we go. Euro pound. Just had a reversal alert on that one. And it's retested as well. Straight up at 125 ADR. So really nice potential drop on that one due. Obviously the pound now being a short. What's happened to the pound today? Let's have a quick look at the pounds. Nothing much. It's having a little bit of a push at the moment, but we're still within the Asian range on the vast majority. Just breaking out on the CAD at the minute, but everything else is within the Asian range. So again, nice bounce on M5. Just had the alert and it's starting to drop, so that's a nice looking short as well. And Euro New Zealand. So it's all about the Euro today. Euro New Zealand. Oh, there it is. Had a reversal alert and a retest. We're retesting again at the moment. Up above 125 ADR. Not quite got up to 150. This is a bit of a broker candle down here, so I would say really somewhere around here is actually the start, which is about 27 pips difference from the high. So really this is a 125 hit because this is a broker candle. So looking for shorts on that. New Zealand dollar is still technically along, so nice looking short on that one, back down to the lows. Looking for quarter to a half an ADR and ADR reversals. So there's a few today, all euro based. So euro pound. Yeah, it's basically this Asian move, isn't it? Oh, it's really annoying not having anything in the right order. Euro odd. Yeah. Fairly decent move in Asia on a few things. But so they're the only ADRs we've got today. There's nothing much else getting particularly close, but obviously just keep an eye on those for potential scalp opportunities today. So with this week obviously being the week before Christmas and light liquidity, you'll quite often find we do get some ADR moves because obviously we get slippages. There's not a lot of liquidity in the market. If big orders get placed, we'll see some fairly big sort of candles going in, which will hit levels, but most of the time you'll find that they will retrace sort of back down. So the Euro New Zealand, we've got this drawn in, this candle from last week where we drew this sort of kind of support and resistance level in. We have just tapped into that. So this is kind of the control candle really that we're stuck in. So everything has been an inside bar. within this candle. We have pushed out of it, but until we break and hold outside of these levels, this is what is in control at the moment. So if we find today we do break above the highs here, potentially we may well get a run on the euro, but it's unlikely. I can't really see any reason for the euro to push. But more than likely we're going to break back down within that level, and then just continue back down to the bottom of the range on that Euro New Zealand. So that's the ADRs. 4 hours. We've got a couple at the moment. So Cad Swiss. Well, this is going to be challenging, isn't it? Trying to find everything. Cad Swiss. So Cad Swiss is extended to the downside at the moment, only just. We've got this lovely level down here that we are currently testing. So it's bounced straight off of that at the moment, and it's still coming down towards it. So if we get a nice bullish price action off of this level here, good opportunity for taking longs. We're not really extended down here, but you can see there the sort of bounce that we had last time. We got a fairly decent bounce off of it. So you should be able to get, sort of anywhere in this sort of range here. Not got my gap indicator on this either. So fairly good bounce expected off of Cad Swiss, but it's a double bottom at the minute, but we need some bullish price action to confirm it. So that one's extended on the 4 hour. Cad Yen extended to the downside. So we have broken out to the downside on this one, but again, we've got this level down here, which we've just rejected. So we've got big wicks going into the bottom, big wicks going into the top. It's just no directional bias on it whatsoever at the moment. Really difficult to tell what's going to happen with the yen this week. So again, as I say, it's the last week before Christmas. We're not really looking to get into any positions we're going to hold. So anything really you want to be doing is scalping. So these ones that are really extended on the 4 hour, good for low time frames to drop down to, and look for basically longs. So we're extended on the 4 hour. Just look for long opportunities to scalp, really, is all you can do with these this week. New Zealand dollar yen. Where are you? There we are. So New Zealand dollar yen extended to the downside. We've still got this support level that we haven't reached yet. So it's still pushing down. Yen, obviously, we would expect the yen to power up a little bit along with the US dollar. I haven't got a Dixie. Where's the Dixie? Where have they put that one under? Where's the US dollar index gone? There we are. So US dollar, obviously, we had this big strong push. We would expect potentially the yen to move with the US dollar at some point, but obviously this week, just kind of look for range bound choppy action. It's very difficult to know which way they're going to take it this week, because obviously what we'll probably find is we'll get a push in one direction and then a pullback the next day, and then a push and then a pullback. We may well get a push up for a couple of days and then a pullback for a couple of days. It's very, very difficult to know what they're going to do. But assume with the yens, they're going to kind of move in tandem with the US dollar at the moment. So the New Zealand dollar yen, where we are, we've just had a strong push on the US dollar. So New Zealand dollar yen, we will probably see starting to pull back gradually this week. So where we've had this big move down, look for a pullback back up into the support rectangle there. But potentially pull back down into support before it does that, but just about getting extended at the moment. I'd much rather get interested in things which are 70 or 30 extended, just that little bit extra, like the US dollar CAD. Where have we put that now? So yeah, US dollar CAD very, very nicely extended. Big strong push on US dollar. Expecting that to continue. If you look at it from the extension point of view, we're just coming up to above the 70 level at the moment. We had a beautiful 24 bounce. We've just done a nice sort of pullback on that move there. This is going to challenge me trying to find my fib. How's my fib set up? It's not too bad. So it's not quite set up right, that fib, is it? I'll just sort that out in a bit. So yeah, nice pullback and push on the US dollar. Again, wait for a pullback and continuation push on that one. This level here is potentially where we're going to be coming back to if we're going to continue market structure in that direction. We've got to break these highs yet though, so we could well just bounce off of that and chop around this week. So as I say, it's just going to be very, very difficult conditions this week. Best thing to do, I think, this week is to use the hourly RSI extensions and look at M5 entries. So wait for things to get extended on the 1 hour charts, like US dollar CAD at present. There we are. So once we get an extended on here, just sort of place scalping moves to the opposite direction and assume that the week is going to be one of those weeks where we're just kind of chopping around, not really got any directional bias because the market doesn't really know where to go because it's the week before Christmas. So potentially just accumulation ready to move after Christmas. So therefore look for range bound plays. So anytime we're getting up to highs, look for shorts. When we get extended, when we get down to lows, look for longs. Is really all we do. But again, nothing extended this week so far, obviously, because we haven't had a lot of movement today. I've had a fairly good Asian session on a few pairs, but apart from that, London's really been fairly flat. So yeah, from a US dollar perspective, we are totally range bound, obviously, on this, as we looked at on Friday. So we're right at the highs of the range at the moment. Look for pullbacks down to the lows and vice versa. So that's really all the players this week. If you get some liquidity, that is, a lot of the stuff you may well find just does not move. So be interesting to see what happens in New York as to whether or not they're going to put some moves in. Has anybody got any particular pairs they want to look at specifically? If not, I will just go through all the pairs basically. We'll just have a quick overview of where we are. While I'm waiting, I will just move this into a little bit more of an understandable order. It's going to take a while. Nobody got any specific pairs? Okay. Right, what I do then is I will whiz through where we are with everything at the moment. So, as I say, I'm not getting into anything this week. EJ and NU for Peter. Yeah, okay, I'll have a look at those in a second. Yeah, as I say, I'm not looking to get into anything this week. I'm basically taking the week off trading, doing a little bit of S&P scalping, but that's about it. Just because I don't want to get into any positions that I'm going to hold, and I don't want any light liquidity squeezes to happen this week, which would potentially put me into drawdown, which I'm going to have to sit through in the new year. So I'm going to wait for the liquidity to come back after Christmas and then get into some positions from there. But assuming that all we're going to do is see fairly range-bound activity this week, what we'll be doing is looking for continuations on current trends. So Aussie Dollar CAD, is a short at the moment. It's a short against a short as far as the Cot Report is concerned. So we're short Aussie and we're short CAD at the moment. We're teetering around the 72. So we've just had a reversal alert at the 72 and we're retesting it at the moment. So be looking for short opportunities on that going into the new year to continue the push to the downside on that. Wesson's just asked, any Christmas discounts on the MT4 EA? Not planning on it, no. Sorry, not at the moment. Might do, I don't know. I've done 2 discounts in the last month. So it's been, we've had launch offers and all sorts of things going on. We had Black Friday as well, don't forget. So, Aussie Dollar CAD is short, obviously. It's still short. We just had a reversal alert, so prime time to start getting into short opportunities on that one. I'm going to go through these in the order they are on here at the moment, rather than the normal order where I go through everything at the same time. Or shall I do? No, let's tell you what we do. Let's get all the Aussies in line. We'll do them in order. I've got to do it at some point. I've got to put them in order at some point. Is that all the Aussies? Yeah, right. Okay, so Aussie Dollar CAD. Aussie Dollar Swiss short again. So we've had a lovely bounce off the 24. We had that nice 3-bar reversal put in here. Nice push up, shooting star, big bearish candle. Got the reversal alert, didn't get up to retest it. So short all over at the moment. Just coming down into this potential support, we put a double bottom in. So we'll see if that holds. But I'd be looking for short opportunities on the Aussie Swiss as well. Aussie Dollar, New Zealand Dollar. This is the only one that I've got that position on at the moment. Got it really extended here and we got embedded. So this is where I started to get in, expecting basically a continuation to the downside. We basically just have been stepping up gradually. So there's no real strength in the Aussie. There's not been any massive weakness in the New Zealand dollar. So this has kind of gone into a sort of a very, very slight up channel at the moment. So basically just waiting for a drop on this one. So we've had this big, strong move. There's not really been any decent profit take move, as you can see. So I'm expecting the profit take to happen at some point and a move to the downside. But we'll see what happens after the Christmas with this. We may well get a continuation push on the Aussie. As I say, the Cot Report could well flip. It's end of quarter, it's end of year. Next year is a new sort of reset. We're going to have new trading conditions. Things are going to be changing with COVID. So we've got to play it week by week, day by day at the moment. But Aussie dollar is still a short at the moment and New Zealand dollar is technically still a long. So I am short on that one. Aussie US is a short. We're expecting some US dollar strength to continue. We've just pulled off of this support here. So potentially this looks like it might be a bounce. We're getting a nice bullish engulfing on the Aussie US. But I would be short Aussie US. So again, with this one, just the fact that we've come off of this level here, potentially a little push. So we'll retest that reversal alert and then move to the downside. But obviously this sort of price action this week, I wouldn't expect us to make any big moves this week. So, but in New Year, be looking for short opportunities, Aussie US, and continuation on the US dollar strength, assuming nothing changes with COVID, obviously, which who knows, could easily happen. Aussie dollar yen, again, still a short, nice reversal alert there, where we haven't pulled back up into retest. Similar situation here, looking for a push up and then a continuation to the downside on it. It may well just continue to come down, but the yen and the US dollar will potentially move in tandem. So if we do get the US dollar strength in the new year, we should see some yen strength starting to show through as well. And obviously that will push this one down. So that's all the Aussies. CADs, I'll just get them in order, and the Swissy. Okay, CAD yen. Let's do Cad Swiss first, alphabetical. So Cad Swiss, just bouncing, as we say, just bouncing off of this support at the moment. This is, the CAD is a short at the minute. The Swissy is fairly neutral. As I say, the Swiss franc will power up and weaken as money gets piled into it. So overall, I'll be looking for shorts on this one. Obviously, you can see it's in a downtrend at the moment. So putting in a double bottom. So temporarily, little bounce potentially this week. But I'll be looking for shorts. If we can get pullbacks back up to the 24 and 72 range, I'll be looking for shorts somewhere up there. Cad Yen, same thing as all the others. Potentially this one, again, will bounce this week. But overall, we'll be looking for shorts on it. So nicely extended on the RSI at the moment. But I'd be looking for longs at the moment, just temporarily this week, and then looking for shorts on it. Going into New Year, Swiss yen, sideways mess. Can't trade that at the moment. Moving averages are sideways. You see we're getting a reversal alert after reversal alert. It's just in 100% consolidation at the moment. So we're in an area of balance. We're range bound. So play the highs and the lows, basically. At the moment, we're bang in the middle. So if we get up to there, short it. If we get down to here, long it. It's really all you can do with that one. It's not going anywhere. Euros. Let me just get these in order a little bit. Euros Swiss. That's all the euros. Okay, so euro odd. Euro odd is flat as well. So you see the moving averages have gone sideways. We are, after this big, strong push down that we had, we've gone into a consolidation. I'm still bearish on the euro. The Eurozone has given me no reason to do anything but be bearish with it. Australian dollar is also weak. So hence we're getting the euro having a little bit of a push against it, but there's still no real reason the euro should be going up. So we'll be looking for shorts on this one. Again, these highs, if we can get up to these highs, we looked at this one, didn't we? Because we've hit ADR today. If we could push up to those highs today, 125 ADR, that'd be a lovely area to take a short from. So we just had a reversal alert and it's retesting at the moment. That well could be it, and we're just going to drop. If not, push up to there and a drop off of the resistance up there on Euro odd. Euro Swiss, it's a short. As you can see, we're in a downtrend. We have sort of balanced off a little bit at the bottom here. So we've put in a low and then we pulled up and put in some new highs. So market structure started to shift on it. So we've had a very, very weak market structure shift where we put in a new high sort of up here, either of those. We've pulled back down, put in a higher low. We just about managed to put in a higher high, and now we've put in a lower low again. So it's just, again, in an area of balance. So be looking for longs off the lows and shorts off the highs, but I'd much rather be shorting this. But as I say, Euro Swiss is very, very low ADR pair, and it's the Eurozone. So these two guys are in bed with each other, obviously, Swiss and the Euro being in the Eurozone. So you don't tend to get an awful lot of movement off of them, and they do move in tandem, but you're always going to find that the Swissy will be able to beat the Euro at the moment because the Euro is just so weak. So looking for shorts on it. Whenever we get any pushes up above the extension points on RSI, but you're not going to find them on H4. Very rarely find them on the hourly as well, but lovely short there. It's the only one we've had. It's just not really tradable at the moment, unless you're range bound. Obviously, just when we get up to highs, short it. When we get down to lows, long it. That's really all you can do with the Euro Swiss. Euro New Zealand, very similar to the Euro odd. We are in a big consolidation at the moment. We've just managed to crack out of these highs. Remember, we looked at this one a second ago, didn't we? So we've got this big daily push that we had, and we've been stuck for, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days sideways. This is a New Zealand dollar weakness move out of Asia. So obviously we had this big push up in Asia. I suspect this afternoon we will see this drop back down. So we'll close back down today below this level. If we don't close back down below that level today, if I could select that red line, we are potentially looking at a breakout of this range. So maybe a little bit more of a push up on the euro, but I can't take a long on the euro at the moment. Although it's had this sort of temporary strength, which is more New Zealand dollar weakness in this case. It's not going to take much New Zealand dollar strength to batter this straight back down again. So looking for short opportunities on Euro New Zealand. Euro Cad. Just broken out to the highs again. Again, weakness on the CAD. We are at the moment taking out highs. Potentially, if this breaks back down below that level, will be a nice area to start looking for shorts. We've got extended a couple of times on this one over the last sort of week. And all we've managed to do is have little sort of pullbacks. So definitely an area that I'm looking for shorts, EuroCAD. Just waiting for some Canadian strength to come through, but there's nothing happening with news this week. So yeah, shorts on that one based on euro weakness. This one's been a bit more sideways because the Canadian dollar got very weak. So it's been very much more sideways, but we are extended at the moment. So and we've just taken out these highs potentially. So nice area for shorts. If for any reason it doesn't, we've got a few levels to look at where potentially we may move to. But saying that, this one up here is really the strongest point. So where this move started after this big area consolidation, this is where the actual break happened below these lows. So this to me would be the strongest area of resistance, followed by that and that. But this is assuming that we get some euro strength, and we have to bump into some sellers obviously to knock it back, and there is no euro strength at the minute. So for me, this is just a temporary little push, and we'll be pulling back very shortly on it. I suspect probably this week we'll just pull back into this range and sit there and wait for the new year. But EuroCAD is still a short. Euro Swiss covered, Euro New Zealand are covered, Euro Pound. So Euro Pound, again, very consolidatory. You can see the moving averages are sideways. We're bang in the middle of the range on the RSI. Bit of a push up. Now we're pulling back. Again, same thing. It's all about lower time frames. If you want to trade this week, lower time frames, and just look for areas of support and resistance. When you get up to these sorts of areas, look to short it. When you get down to these sorts of areas, look to long it. That's really all you can do with anything this week, but especially with euro pound. They're both shorts at the moment. They're both very weak. So shorts all over with the euro. I'm always looking for shorts on the euro, but now the pound is obviously so weak, I think we're going to be much more range bound on this pair. But again, it's all going to come down to COVID and what happens with restrictions. We've got potentially new restrictions being announced this week in the UK, and that will have an impact on the currency as well. So what we don't want is really, really bad news on Omicron, Boris to turn around and say something about going into lockdown or something like that, and then all of a sudden big pound moves start to happen with low liquidity, and we're going to get a lot of slippage and a lot of big spiky movement. So just be very, very careful this week. Okay, Euro Yen, one that Pete wanted to have a look at. So we've got these lows which we've tapped into again. Euro is still a short. Obviously you can see since October we've just been in a gradual downtrend on this. The euro over the last couple of weeks has had a little bit of temporary strength, as you can see, but that has waned away. So if you look at all the euro pairs where they had this new market structure potentially put in, so we had these new lows which we held, then we made a new high, we made a higher low, we made a higher high, and then the structure's broken back down to a lower low. So the structure's broken again to the downside. So I would say now we've got a new high, new low. We'd be looking for a lower high and a lower low. But that's in normal trading conditions. At the moment, obviously, we're in Christmas trading conditions. So your guess is as good as mine. But I don't think we'll break these lows. I think these lows will probably hold, and they just hold it within a range in the Christmas period. Again, unless there's something happens over the next few days to cause otherwise. But yeah, we'll be looking for shorts on it, especially as we're expecting potential US dollar strength, which could well drag the yen with it. And then obviously the euro will get pummeled back down again. But lovely area right here if you are in longs on it to look to get out. So any kind of pullback we get some decent lot size on for longs. Euro US dollar sideways, totally sideways. Looking at the Dixie, you can see what's happening. The US dollar has been completely range bound, no directional moves whatsoever on it at the moment. So looking at the Euro US dollar, the euro has nothing either. Therefore, this is just moving sideways with the Dixie. So whatever happens with the US dollar, expect the euro to do the complete opposite. If we get a big spike on the US dollar, this is coming down. If we get a big drop on the US dollar, this is going to go up. So you could basically pick either of those to trade. They're the same thing at the moment because the euro's got no strength. So expectation it will be for a little bit more US dollar strength, therefore a drop. So you can see obviously we've been holding and hugging the 24 perfectly. We are now holding and hugging the 24 again. So just continuing to the downside on euro US dollar. New Zealand's. Let's pop these back in order. I will get my MT4 totally organised for tomorrow. I was in a bit of a rush this morning. New Zealand dollar CAD. So New Zealand dollar, we are still along on the New Zealand dollar. If you look at it, all the New Zealand dollar pairs, the New Zealand dollar has been fairly weak, but it's been massive. There's been a lot of long interest on the Cot Report. So we've been expecting and waiting for a power up on the New Zealand dollar for weeks and weeks, and it's actually played out really nicely because I've taken longs on the New Zealand dollar for weeks and weeks and weeks, and they've all played out, but none of them have actually managed to get a big push or any decent movement. So everything is very, very consolidatory with the New Zealand dollar at the moment. We're getting decent movement, but whenever we get any decent movement, it just gets undone again. So we're not actually going anywhere on the New Zealand dollar. Now, the fact that the Cot Report this week has scaled right out of longs on the New Zealand dollar could be taken that the market sentiment is shifting on it. You could also take that as end of month, end of year and end of quarter scaling out of positions ahead of Christmas. So it doesn't mean anything. So again, there's no real indicators to tell us anything different. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm staying long on the New Zealand dollar at the moment. We've got confluence here of support holding. We are in a sort of downtrend at the moment. So we've got market structure of high, low, lower high, lower low, looking to put in another lower high, probably around either the 72 or the 200, could even be the 24, pulling back. But you can see from this pair, you can trade it any direction you like. When we get extended on the RSI, you get in long. When we get extended on the RSI, you can get in short. It's a really, really nice moving pair. The market structure on this thing is great. It moves a lot. So it really doesn't matter how you get into it at the moment, but I'm going to have a bias on it of long on the New Zealand dollar. The CAD is a short still. So I would be expecting to just get into longs. So, long opportunity we had here played out beautifully. Long opportunity we've got here has already played out. So yeah, long opportunities on it, but at the moment you see it's just kind of pushing up, and not getting anywhere. So long bias overall for trades, but no real options to make any money this side of Christmas, obviously. New Zealand dollar Swiss, same thing. The Swiss franc obviously will kick in. This is very, very similar. It's been very, very nice movement on this one. We'll be expecting some kind of pullback at the moment. We're very, very extended. We're putting in a lovely potential W formation down here at this support. So pull back somewhere up into this zone here at some point. But that's really all you're going to get this week, I think, is somewhere up to 72.24 range. So longs on it. But obviously this is going to be driven mainly by any Swiss franc movement if we get it this week, which is unlikely. New Zealand dollar yen. Again, double bottom. All these yens, this is a really, really, really strong support here. I suspect this week we'll get a bit of New Zealand dollar strength because we're probably not going to get a lot of yen strength. So I suspect a little bit of a pullback. We got this nice big propulsion candle gap here that they'll probably want to trade back up into. But again, very extended. It's putting in a lovely W. So I suspect a little bit of movement to the upside. But the New Zealand dollar yen is kind of a neutral bias. At the moment, the yen is a short on the Cot Report. But I suspect maybe we will get some more strength coming through on that. So the beauty of this pair particularly is it trends very nicely when it starts. So if we are going to get some movement to the upside on this one, it'll be very nice and orderly, as you can see, to trade. But I just can't really trade it at the moment. The yen is a bit too difficult to identify a directional bias on it. So not really one that I want to really get involved in. New Zealand dollar CAD is much better long, and New Zealand dollar Swiss, in my opinion, at the moment. New Zealand dollar US dollar was the other one Peter wanted to have a look at. Again, the US dollar obviously is expected to strengthen up. We've seen it strengthening and holding its ground. New Zealand dollar has been weak. I suspect this one is potentially starting to trend to the downside now. But the trends on this in the past have obviously been fairly short term. So again, it's the New Zealand dollar and the US dollar are a really nice pair to trade. Any Australasian pair against a US pair are always pretty good because you get these big, strong moves during the Asian session, which are countered during the New York session. Strong Asian, strong New York. You get a lot of movement up and down, and as traders, this is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for pairs that move from highs to lows with strength, which obviously gives us opportunities to get into shorts, get into longs. It's really easy to trade. Right now, we are embedded, and it just needs a little bit of New Zealand dollar strength. We had New Zealand dollar weakness during the Asian session today. It's all going to depend on what happens with each session, obviously, but we're very, very extended at the moment, but the US dollar is expected to strengthen. So, this is the one on the Cot Report that we wouldn't be trading. New Zealand is a long, US is a long. You can't really have a directional bias on it. So, if you're going to take trades on RSI extensions, that's really all you can do with it. Looking at H4, obviously very, very, not quite extended yet, but very, very strong push, just getting down to extensions. We've got a nice wick here on this candle. So we got a nice bit of volatility coming in last week, which we are just coming back down into at the moment. So first bullish candle we've had for quite a while on H4. So nice looking pullback, sort of maybe to 50% of that move. But again, overall, I think this is going to be a short moving forward. All right, let's do the pounds next. Cad Swiss. Pound odd, sideways. So the pound obviously is now a short. Has been a short for the last 4 weeks. So pound odd is a short against a short now. Again, really nice pair to trade because you've got a European pair against an Australasian pair. So we get that movement during the Asian session and then it's countered during the London session. So you can kind of trade this any way you want to. This has just been on a catastrophic down move, which has been sort of countered now. So long term, it's really going to depend on economic factors as to kind of what happens with these two, obviously. So the pound is a short and the Aussie is also a short. So any kind of extensions that you get on this, you're probably going to be fairly safe to take trades on because you're going to get a push and a pull and a push and a pull with Asia and London sessions. Overall, it's very, very difficult to call a direction on it. I would say probably pound is going to be weak moving forward into the new year. But again, it's going to be very dependent on what happens with COVID at the moment. So overall, obviously, we are at the moment in a kind of downtrend, but the pound's been fighting back. So I don't really think it matters which direction you get into on this one. You just want to be getting in when there's been a big, strong price move in one direction or the other. So, just waiting for high extensions that we are expecting a decent profit take move to come back out of. But overall, I'd probably be looking more for shorts than longs on this one at the moment. Same goes for the pound. New Zealand, obviously the New Zealand dollar is at the moment still a long. We've had this big, strong move where we had that New Zealand dollar weakness. We're putting in a triple top at the moment. Looking to be like it's an area where we should be starting to get into shorts. So pound New Zealand and the pound odd both, I think, shorts. Pound CAD is again a short against a short. We've had this lovely V-shaped recovery on this one. It's only going to take a little bit of Canadian dollar strength to pop this one back down again. But if we break these highs here, there's not really anywhere to go until we get back up to this area here. So this is a really nice, strong support resistance area where we're more than likely to get that turn at. So if we do break and hold above this recent level, we've got this big gap here, big propulsion candle here, where we're likely just to scream straight up into that area, and then we'll get the bounce from there. So see what happens. But we're looking in Christmas period. This could quite easily slip up there, no problem at all. So if we do get up to there, that'll be a lovely area to start looking for shorts. But as I say, I'm not going to take any positions this week. But if you are looking for them, shorts on the pound CAD. We're right up at the highs at the moment. So yeah, perfect spot for starting to short it from. The pound Swiss, very extended to the upside. The moment when we got this, wick, can't see it. So we had this big wick where we got nicely extended and pulled back down. So this one's been hugging the 24.72. So in a lovely downtrend on this one at the moment, mainly driven by the Swiss franc. As soon as the Swiss franc powers up, the pound will get crushed. And that seems to be what's happening at the moment. So again, another one where it's very, very nice market structure. Looking for short opportunities on it. That was the opportunity last week. We had another opportunity there as well, which both played out very nicely. Well, this one's still playing out if you're still in it. So pound Swiss shorts, pound New Zealand we've covered. Pound yen, again, I can't really call the yen at the moment. We need to know what is going on with the US dollar, but right now we are approaching lows. We just come off of this level here, but we're down at the lows, so expect to be coming back up into that sort of zone until there's a directional bias with US dollar, but I would expect pound to be dropping. And pound US dollar, obviously, is a short. So didn't quite get extended up here. Lovely 24 bounce, but it wasn't quite extended enough for me to take it. Didn't get there on the hourly either. So that was the opportunity on Thursday last week, but didn't quite get in that one. And finally, the US dollars. US dollar CAD. We're approaching highs at the moment. So this zone here is basically where we'll be looking for some kind of reaction. We're right up there at the moment. So if you go down to lower time frame, beautiful rejection wick straight out the zone at the moment. That's a short right now. Obviously, it's a short right now, assuming we're going to get some normal sort of price action coming in this afternoon, which who knows because it's Christmas week. But yeah, so lovely shorts. We're in a temporary uptrend on this one at the moment. But for me at the moment, just be taking shorts on it, ready to long it. So the CAD is a short, the US dollar is a long. So temporary short, but longs overall on the US dollar CAD. US dollar yen sideways. Again, when the US dollar powers up, quite often we get yen moving with it in tandem. So this tends to go into a consolidation. And then if one of those sort of takes over with some strength, it goes into a nice trend. But for the moment, this one's just sideways. Can't really trade it. There's better yens to trade than the US dollar yen at the moment. And US dollar Swiss, again, sideways. So US dollar gets pushed around by the Swiss franc when the Swiss franc has money pushed into it and pulled back out. So looking for some decent movement on the US dollar Swiss, but up, down, up, down, up, down. So it's range bound. Look at lower time frames and just basically look at where the range highs and lows are and start scaling in around the highs. There's one opportunity up there. And one up there. Start scaling in around the lows and just basically play the range. Gold. So gold had a bit of a push on the US dollar weakness, but it's just tapped straight back up into these highs here. So potentially, I think you can see we're obviously range bound on gold at the moment. Difficult to tell. It's going to be driven by US dollar. But I don't trade this one because it's too volatile. So I would say probably looking for shorts this week, scaling back down towards these lows, and then obviously reset after Christmas. And Dixie we've already talked about. Starting to come down. So we should see everything against the US dollar potentially longing at the moment. Nice little down move. But again, looking at ranges this week. So we're up at range high at the moment. Trade it back down to range low. That's all you're going to do all week. Okay, so that's everything. That's an overview of everything this week. But as I say, it's a bit of a funny week this week. I'm going to play it by ear with the live rooms this week. I'll do another one tomorrow. But there's not really an awful lot I want to be getting involved in, even from a scalping perspective at the moment. It's very difficult trading conditions. Peter, you trade gold on your cent account only for that. Yeah, it's good. A cent account is a good thing to trade gold on. But gold's it's just too volatile. It's as a position trader. If you're using a stop loss, gold's brilliant because it moves so fast and so hard when it goes. You can make a serious amount of money. If you're using really good risk reward with gold, it's a good thing to trade. But obviously, because the way that I trade, I don't use fixed stops. It's too squeezy, which obviously, as you know, is why I don't trade it. So, we get silly moves on gold every now and again, and it's okay at the moment. I mean, it's been tradable, but in the past, when you get these big moves where it squeezes like this, and then it flags, and then it squeezes, and then it collapses, and then it squeezes and squeezes and squeezes. If you're position trading and you're getting into this just ahead of a fundamental shift, that is where it just doesn't work. With Forex pairs, you're always going to have someone else pushing against you. That doesn't happen with gold. So how often do you anticipate to do this type of analysis on YouTube? Daily. We'll be doing it every day. So this is basically the live room. I've been running the live room as a paid service for 2 years. So I've just decided to take it free and online on YouTube. So I'll be doing this every day. In January, we'll probably be going over to 2 sessions a day. So I'm probably going to do a London session and a New York session. And in the New York session, we'll do some scalping on the S&P 500 in the afternoons when New York opens at 2:30 UK time. So have a morning session just to have a look at for setups in the morning, and New York session to look for setups in the afternoon. If you're not familiar with the way that I trade, I'm a position trader basically. So I use the 4-hour chart and look for extensions on RSI. So I look for exhaustion and mean reversion opportunities. Basically to get into the market and scale in, waiting for the market moves to shift. So that's basically how I trade. So with the way that I trade, obviously, I only need to look at the charts 2 or 3 times a day to look for opportunities that I want to get into. And then I set them up and I let my EA run and scale me into those positions. So I'm not the type of trader that sits here glued to the charts all day long. I'm getting in and out of positions with the EA and automatically exiting, so I don't have to sit in front of the charts, and the EA automatically gets me into the positions as well. So but I'll cover more of that. There's loads of videos on the website. If you go to the market structure trader.com, you'll find basically all the videos on there explaining how I trade. There's a 5-episode bootcamp on YouTube as well, which shows you in detail what I do and how I do it and why. And if you like it, come along. Who do you use for your cent account, Peter? You're talking to Peter. Well, I use for my cent account, I'm using Forex. I've just set up 5 cent accounts with Forex. And I'm just running different EA strategies in there at the moment, just so that people can track them as well. But Forex, they're pretty well respected, Forex. I haven't heard any bad things about them. But as I say, I've just set up 5 accounts with them and funded them. And I will see how they go. But I've only stuck $500 in there, so. Okay, so anybody got anything else they want to cover? Any other questions? Or, well, I've covered all the pairs. So there's not a lot else really to cover this afternoon. What's the S&P doing? Up, down, up, down, up, down. So S&P, we should be looking potentially for a bounce here where we are. So we pull back down to the 72 again. We've stuck range bound on the S&P, which we don't tend to do very often. But I suspect we're going to get that sort of move. We may well get the Santa rally move starting this week. If that does, we will look to put in a new high by end of year, by Friday. But we'll see what happens with that one. But I'm always long S&P, so I just scale in long on the S&P, as you can see, is what I'm doing at the minute. What's my Aussie New Zealand up to? Still pushing. I will get out of that before Christmas, one way or the other. Peter's just talking about Forex. Yeah, that confused me, Peter. I've never seen a broker that's offering gold as a base currency, which is very weird. I couldn't work that one out. There's all sorts of base currencies you can have on your Forex accounts, but I've just gone with US dollar because it's simple. But yeah, having gold as your base currency, it's a bit odd. I might try a little cent account with gold as a base currency just to see what impact it has on lot sizing and stuff. But I stick to what I know. Stuff that everybody else uses. Might be handy for hyperinflation. Yeah. Having your money in gold as a base currency isn't a bad thing at the minute, because having your money in tangible assets is obviously a lot safer than having it in Bitcoin, for example. Yeah, if the price of gold is typically pretty stable, when you look at long term on gold, I mean, this is going back to July 2020. If we go back out, where's March 2020 there? So you see, this is COVID for gold. It didn't have that dramatic an impact as it did on some of the other currencies, because it's a tangible asset. And in times of worry, people tend to put it into things which they know are safe and stable, and gold is one of those metals that is still transacted in by banks today. So you're always pretty safe with it, and within reason. You don't get any catastrophic drops, so it's probably not a bad thing to have as a base currency. But for simplicity's sake, US dollar seemed the obvious thing to do. Okay, so that's all I've really got for you today. If there's anything else you want to discuss, obviously you can come into the Telegram group. It's the Market Structure Trader. There'll be links in the YouTube video to that as well. But always available in the Telegram group. Not so much 24/7, but almost. I do sleep sometimes. But yeah, so if you need anything or got any questions, come into the Telegram group, and you can ask away in there. Other than that, I will be back tomorrow, same sort of time, around about 12:30. We'll see how it goes today, and we'll see how it goes during Asia and London tomorrow. If there's not a lot of market movement happening, which I suspect is probably going to be the case, I will probably call it a day on Wednesday, and then start the Christmas break from there. As I say, I'm not going to be trading anything, apart from taking additional positions on S&P long. But we'll see how it goes this week. We've got very, very light news as well. So yeah, if you want to obviously get notified when I'm coming on air, obviously subscribe on YouTube, hit the notification bell, and you'll know when I'm coming on. I'm planning to start the stream with sort of about 10 minutes before I actually start. So you'll just have a holding video up there. So it gives you sort of 10 minutes grace to come in before I actually start the REM. All right. So yeah, anything you need, let me know in the Telegram group as usual. For all you guys that are in the live room normally, obviously business as usual there. But other than that, I'll be back tomorrow around about 12:30. Okay, so I will see you then. Have a good afternoon.